Welcome back to the RIP. We here.
Episode 2.
Episode 2. We're going to focus on getting to know Christina between our two ferns, but not between two ferns.
Between two millennial house
Between
plants.
two millennial house plants. Well looked after. This episode, we're going to focus on getting to know Christina, what makes her tick in Lifesaving, how she got to where she is, and what she's excited about for the RIP. Let's get stuck straight into it. Tongue's getting twisted. So
let's get dragged deep straight into it.
Let's get straight into the deep stuff.
Yeah.
So what got you into Lifesaving?
I grew up in a family where like Lifesaving was always just there. My older brother, James, or John T, as many people know him, he was involved in Lifesaving. And so I have very strong memories of being like 3, 4, 5, because we've got quite a big age gap. He's 12 years older than me. Being taken to like Fishhook and it's super windy.
Dragged to watch it.
And I'm like sitting on the wall there and my mom and dad are keeping me warm in between them. And we're watching my brother like race in competitions. And it was such an awesome, engaging sport to be watching. We have quite a big sports background in our family. And we love spectating, but I think Lifesaving just always stuck out. So it was inevitable for me that I was going to get involved. I remember I couldn't wait until I was old enough. I was so amped. And when I finally turned, I think it was 8, I was able to go down to Clifton and get on a Mallie. And I remember on that first day, I had a huge wipeout in the shore break and I was so stoked. I was just like, it's fine because I'm a lifeguard now. And I had this like swagger about me that I was
off the wall on the
going to
beach.
be coming into this. I think also, around the time of being 7, 8 years old, Baywatch was a huge kind of
some people
culture.
Stand in the darkness, Christina.
Not afraid to step into the light. And it felt like Lifesaving was like this really cool thing, even more so than just like what I was experiencing and seeing. So I really wanted to get stuck in. Through my like nipper years and into juniors, Lifesaving was one of a couple of sports I was doing. I was quite involved in hockey and water polo. Also played quite a lot of squash and tennis. But Lifesaving was, that Sunday like feeling that you got. And it was so cool going down, mucking about in the sand, not wanting to leave the beach, but inevitably I would always have to like be picked up to go home and do homework. It was like the absolute worst thing.
Sunday blues.
And then also once we got a bit older, you started doing some Lifesaving training midweek. And that also just like felt so cool. Like you finished school and now you're at the beach in the middle of the week and you're running around with your mates. I think as I grew up into the sport, my brother actually became my coach when I was a junior. So when he first started getting his coaching legs, I had a lot of friends that were involved in the sport. A lot of us were also playing a lot of hockey and water polo, and Lifesaving was a sport where we had a lot of fun together. There were some iconic people in my time. I think Fishhook was strong. They had Wendy Trott, Heather Whitehorn, who were like 2 absolute weapons. Bodyboard was never my event. But
Whose was it?
Bodyboard was Wendy Trott. I think Wendy Trott could smash a bodyboard. It was like insane. But I really enjoyed like Mallie, and when like getting the opportunity to jump in a ski when I became a junior, I really enjoyed that. And always had a lot of fun, like the long runs. Beach events weren't really my thing. I think I just
lucky.
So different background to you. I just really enjoyed the variety that Lifesaving offered. I was in school, provincial water polo and hockey, so those were probably more of my focus. But Lifesaving was this huge social element for me. And there's definitely some standout races. I remember like we used to have craft rescue as an event. And I got put in the team as the only girl because they were like hoping I'd be drawn patient.
And surprised.
No, luckily I was the dragger, but we had to pick up the heaviest oak. I think Lifesaving was inevitable for me, a big
In the
family occasion. My brother and family are still like super involved, and something that I think is just kind of part of what we do.
I was going to ask you about your first impressions, but now that we've clarified that's a slow motion David Hasselhoff running down the beach.
Yeah, no, so I mean, first impressions, I can vividly remember one of my first comps at Big Bay. I was probably like 8 or 9, and it was either the boogie board or the surf swim. It might have been the surf swim, and like a whole bunch of us just started crying like halfway out, because like the waves just seemed to be getting so much bigger, and like the safety officers were definitely being motivational and trying to help us, but we didn't believe them in this moment, like what on earth was going on. My mum recalls so fondly that what was even more funny was that at the same point, my dad had now gotten into the water himself in his t-shirt and shorts because he was so concerned about me.
Yeah, I go Christina's dad.
He grew up in the UK and was very new to lifesaving, and I think his little precious daughter was going out and like getting washed around. But yeah, needless to say, I mean, there was some like moments that tested you, moments on the boogie board where you were like, why is that person going so much faster than me?
How are they doing that?
What on earth is going on? But then, yeah, there were epic moments where, like, even if you were coming last, say, in the boogie board race, but you caught a wave.
Worth it.
You were styling. You came out of there just so stoked. And it just became this space where this shared love for the beach with all your mates, you suddenly could enjoy it in a sport environment. I think like another like tragic thing I had that happened to me when I was younger, that I was at a fisher comp and we were waiting to marshal, and I think I must have been like 10, 11 at this point. And as nippers do, we're playing in the sand, and we started playing a game of let's throw sand up in the air, like let's throw like sand balls in the air. And I threw one really high, and then I stared at it and watched it fall down onto my face.
First rule of nippers.
And I was out for the rest of the comp because I basically had just blinded myself. I was so bleak, and I mean, my parents, shame, they tried to give me an ice cream, but like I couldn't even see it. So that was quite a tragic time. But I think through all of these like little moments, it still became this place that you wanted to come back to. Like if you had your little moments of feeling sad, there were so many other moments that were picking you up. And such an exciting space. I think as a junior, I kind of saw that I would keep doing it all the way through until the end of high school. I then went away to Stellenbosch University, focused on hockey with a side dose of jolling as my sports. And I think I never really, as much as I had loved lifesaving so much, I didn't see it fitting into my lifestyle at that time. I then also went overseas and traveled. When I came back from traveling, there was a cool moment where just like for a season, I was back in Cape Town, finding my feet in my career and what I was doing. And my brother suggested, like, well, why don't you get involved at Clifton again? You can just take on a coaching role. And I jumped into the junior kind of setup and started working on coaching the junior ladies. And it was really cool to be able to carve out a bit of a niche and work with some of these athletes. I compete with some of these athletes these days. And it's so cool how there I was, this like young 26-year-old, just like frothing to share some knowledge and information. And now some of them are my teammates. And that was a really cool season. I then, I still dabbled around, but in the back of my mind, I had made this goal that I would return to lifesaving when I became a master. So at the age of 30, I was like, I'll return. I think, to be fair, I was looking at the senior women at that time, and it was a really strong generation. This was like 2016, 2017. I just thought I couldn't compete with that. And I was like, it'll be cooler when I'm a master, because then I've can just focus on masters. COVID hit, and so I think the soccer I was playing at the time and everything kind of went out the window, and I turned 30, and
Here I am.
My brother was like, "No, you
told me
promised."
30.
Yeah, and I think as a family, we went through a bit of a tough time in COVID. Our mom got diagnosed with cancer, and I think that was like the extra push I just needed to go into a space that felt familiar, where suddenly I had this huge support structure. And it was a really tough time for James and I. And we ended up losing our mom. But to have the support of that community during that time was like unreal.
Yeah.
And I was finding my feet again in Lifesaving and starting to compete again. I was still very intimidated by the junior girls at the time.
Me too.
They're ferocious. But I think that was just this other iconic thing that happened to me with getting back into the sport. It was like a true homecoming. And 5 years down the line, I haven't looked back since and gotten pretty involved.
Yeah. I see, because you've obviously involved with Clifton, doing some stuff with the Rescue Sports Series and the board. It's fantastic to see. So if you were to pinpoint kind of a turning point of when it came from a hobby or a sport to being something more, where would that have been?
Yeah, I think, it's going to that transition I made to come back as a master. There were some great push factors about why I wanted to come in, and some pull factors. I was like, oh, this is cool. I can, at the time, Paul Lassen, who was the club captain, he had already made a great go of running the Clifton social media accounts. And we got chatting, and I was working in social media at the time, and he was like, oh, if you want to take it over, that'd be cool. And I was like, oh, sick. And so suddenly I had a bit of a purpose and a role. I also, at the time, Clifton was expanding duty-wise, and John T said to me, you should put your hand up to become a squad leader. We need more female squad leaders at Clifton. And first season back, straight into that role. I had a great vice with me, but that was also just so cool. And to find spaces where suddenly whatever stress and cuck you go through in your day job, starts paling in comparison to the fulfillment you get. As soon as you were leaving the office, closing the laptop, you're arriving at the beach, and you suddenly are mucking about, putting on that wetsuit, running into the water. You're taking some photos, posting it on the social media account.
Living the dream.
Yeah, and I'm very goal orientated, and I think back then, small goals started emerging for me. We wanted to become the most followed club in South Africa. I think we were I think Milnerton had more followers than us at this time even. So that was a goal that we had. I also, from a competition perspective, I wanted to be able to compete at a high level. I didn't know at the time that would then mean being able to be selected in open teams. I didn't know it would also mean leading on to a world champs. But I think the turning point was just, coming and finding this space where, from a sports perspective, I could get stuck in, very competitive person. Lifesaving gives you that. It gives you lots of things to learn. I think when I came back, I started at beginner ski. I was I need to learn how to ski again. And also figured out later on in life that I'm not too bad at flags. So you'll be pleased to know that
You'll be beat you yet.
The nipper and junior that wasn't great at flags. I think it's all the push-ups that I've done later on in life. And 30 meters of distance isn't too bad. Yeah, it's the sweet spot. 90, I start slowing down. But I think it was really cool to come into something and just have so much curiosity about it and be able to grow.
And you have to pinpoint your favorite event. Favorite events, your favorite standout competition moments.
Yeah, I think.
We know you're going to say flags, no?
Yeah. Well, so my first official return event was the Clifton Past, Present, Future. So that's when you've got teams of nippers competing against juniors, against seniors, against masters. So I was in the Clifton Masters ladies team, and I ended up winning flags. And I'll never forget some of my mates who been with me in the previous Lifesaving days, like saw me post it on my Instagram. They were like, what the hell? Like,
I should make a comeback.
Yeah, that's insane. No, but I think, so during that time, it was when it was COVID, so the comps were a bit funky. We went to Durban for an 8-man, and I was on a team with, like the top junior girls, and there was 2 senior girls from Clifton, and I felt so intimidated to be in the team. Like I was like sticking out. But cool, true to 8-man style, you can sometimes get lucky, and they drew me for craft rescue, and I was the only one in the whole team who had ever paddled a craft for craft rescue, and I think we ended up getting second in the event, and like that was like really cool. I was like, okay, cool, like I was able to like show up in that event. But I think big standout, I mean, as part of someone who's been at Clifton for many years, something that we hadn't thought possible in the like immediate future. Something that we were aiming for was winning SA Champs. In 2022, we went up to PE and did SA Champs. Didn't have the huge numbers that you would have had, I think, that we've seen normally at other SAs, but how we saw it was like, well, these are the best lifeguards who during COVID have shown up. So it still was a big competition for us. Clifton we had a 6-person senior women's team, and we can proudly say that the reason we won that SA Champs was because we took the most senior women. I mean, 6 doesn't sound like a lot, but when you were looking at a lot of the other clubs, they didn't have the numbers. Milnerton did have numbers, so that was really cool. So we were competing against lots of races with them. It was nice to see Milnerton having the senior ladies there. But that was just insane. I think, there was like, I remember running in the long run, like you just have this like really cool experience where you've like run so far away from the competition venue, and like as you turn to come back, like the noise starts building, and we knew like in this day, like, okay, we're looking good, and you finished, and like people were just like in tears because this was like unprecedented for Clifton.
The goal reached.
My dad was there to come and watch, and between Jonty, my dad, and me, we kind of felt like it was a good one and like something that we had done for our mom, and so that really stood out, I think, as like something huge. And I think more recently, World Champs in Australia was next level. I went to compete as a master, then worked with the national team, helping them with their media, and then was part of the Clifton Interclubs team. But I mean, like 3 weeks of Lifesaving, like with over 5,000 people who all love Lifesaving. It's like a kid, completely. Like everyone you're meeting froths. So from that community experience to feel like, yes, there's so many more people that also love this as much as I do, was really cool. And in that competition, I mean, the numbers are pretty thin in a South African Masters scope. So I'd never actually had a proper experience of competing as people my age since I was in matric. So I rock up in Oz, and suddenly, there's like 30 other 30-year-olds who are all getting stuck in. Led to some of the coolest conversations because we're actually all in the same boat. We all were like nippers who frothed. We all are juggling like careers, life, babies, all these different things. And that made the racing feel so different and so special. I think, what stands out was the unthinkable happening, getting a bronze medal in the surf ski race. The chick who won the race, Bonnie Palmer, she had paddled around the whole of Australia the year before. So I think she put in a bit of extra work.
A bit of fitness.
Yeah, a bit of fitness paid off. But that was really cool and just so special. Like I had, my brother and a bunch of friends from the SA team come and watch the medal ceremony and cheer. And that was a really cool like milestone to have unlocked that I never thought I would have. But I think the nicest takeaway from it is that it made me so much more hungrier to carve out more experiences like that, not just for myself, but for other people. Because if I'm someone that, returned after 12 years and in a short space of time has been able to like find purpose,
gain so much
passion, have some nice results come through, get stuck in and experience it, I'm like, surely, like, what's your excuse? You can also get it. Yeah.
And if we look, you touched on it briefly, but if we look beyond the sport, how Lifesaving has helped kind of shape you as a person and where you are currently?
Yeah, so I think the leadership aspect of Lifesaving is huge. At Clifton, we talk a lot about being a servant leader. I think that's what lifeguards naturally are. In a situation that requires someone to step up and lead, a lifeguard is naturally going to do that. They're going to step up and make the decision. And I think that's definitely helped in the corporate space. I was never afraid to be like, I'll rescue this project. Are you drowning under your workload? Like, I've got you. So I think it's helped me become quite a confident person. Backing yourself, knowing your skills and your knowledge, spending time on refining it. I think it's really translated into the type of character that like is good in a corporate setting. I now have my own business. I'm very fortunate to be involved with clients who are actually really wanting to get involved in the life-saving space. So I'm in like cloud nine currently. I remember 2-3 years ago, like I was loving all the work I was able to do volunteering on the Clifton committee to handle the media and the brand. And I was like, imagine if this could be my job.
Yeah.
And it's really cool how like if you put those types of thoughts out there and if you work hard, like you can find a space and people who want to kind of support that type of vision. I think now being able to work on a scope that's much bigger than just my club and kind of look at like the growth within our province and our district, it's been really cool. And meeting lots of like-minded people. I mean, this is a cool example of like, we've grown up on like different sides, same Atlantic Ocean, but here we are just like frothing to create some value and give back to Lifesaving. The studio where we are currently recording today at Fell & Co. My friend Kirst, I didn't meet her through Lifesaving, but she did Lifesaving. And when I first told her like, mate and I want to do a podcast, first thing she said was, how can I help?
Yeah.
And I was thinking about this today when I was coming here. I was like, it's such a lifeguard move.
Yeah.
Like it's just straight into like, you hear someone's like thing and you're just like, cool, I'm in. Like, what do you need?
I'm here to serve.
Yeah, like let's go. So I think Lifesaving has given me that. It's shown me that like the characteristics of the types of people that are like really good to follow and embody, and then how you can also teach that on to other people, and how, if you put these into practice, you can go pretty far in whatever direction you want to choose, because you're going to be a pretty good human. Yeah.
And again, Christina, you've touched on it, but if you took away the biggest takeaway sort of lessons for life and how it's Lifesaving has kind of transcended into that.
Yeah. I think it's
You've given us a lot of slogans. I think Lifesaving South Africa, you can steal a lot of snippets from there.
Exactly. Again, I think it's that ability to work in tough environments, in conditions that aren't always working in your favor, and being able to like rise to the challenge of them. I'm sure you and I could list probably every competition we've competed in has had something unfavorable. Like the sand was to this, or the ocean was to this, or the official might have been a bit to this. Like something didn't work in your favor. So I think that then can harden someone in a good way to not like let that just like ruin your spirit, and instead you rise above it. And I think, I've experienced a whole range of things in my short to medium life.
Depending on you ask.
Yeah, I mean, I worked in the yachting industry at one point, and there you were often thrown into like really weird team scenarios, and like you literally stuck on a boat with these people, and you have to make it work, and something happens, and I remember once I was in a boat, we were in a storm, and our tender had washed off the boat, and the captain, it was just me and a captain as the crew, and he was like, "What are we going to do?" I was like, "If you drive the boat in a circle past the other one, I'll jump into it." He was like, "But the surf's so big," and I was like,
I got it.
"I've got it. Like, I'm good." And I just put on a life jacket, and he drove the boat around. The first time the boat almost went under the other boat. And then the second time we went round, it was just right, and I jumped. And I don't know what came over me. I remember phoning my mom to tell her the story, because I was in Greece at the time. And she was like, "What on earth are you thinking?" And I was like, "I don't know. I just had like this moment of clarity that I knew what to do."
Jason Bourne, eat your heart out.
Yeah, and I think Lifesaving creates those moments for you. Like for anyone who's been in an 8-man competition at London, when you're standing on that line and you're holding a ski and the surf is bigger than the horizon, you like, it's like those kind of moments, and something happens to you, whether you win or lose. And there's a community right behind you in your club colors, not even your club colors, the broader lifesaving community, who are like, "Yeah, look at you go. Look at you go." So I think that's the thing that I've probably taken out the most is, and you can see it, and I mean, it's not just me that I'm saying this for. I think you see it in a lot of the people who've been in lifesaving for a long time, and why they love it and why they want other people to have it. Because imagine if everyone did lifesaving.
Agreed.
Like imagine if certain governments were being run by lifeguards, or just going to leave that comment there. We could rise above maybe a few more things.
And then taking it back to the podcast, Christina, why the RIP? What inspired you? You were the driving force behind this. What inspired you? What are you looking most forward to?
Yeah, so the RIP, original name was going to be like something lame, like Waves of Glory. But I think the RIP...
Chance Michael Michaels is figure skating.
Exactly. But I was like, no, it's going to pigeonhole us too much into that pun. So, yeah, I've always loved the medium of a podcast. I listen to lots of them. There isn't a lifesaving podcast in South Africa, or Africa for that matter. I listen to some of the ones that come out of Oz, and it's awesome. Like, you're listening to conversations of people froth about what you froth about. And I think earlier this year I was having a bit of a solo road trip going up to St. Francis for the summer. And I think I was listening to another one of these podcasts, and I was like,
this could be me.
Yeah, this isn't that difficult. And then, I think it's the amount of stories that suddenly came to mind, like all the types of themes that we would want to touch on, the characters that you can chat to, and just how it can build. I'm also involved in the media space of lifesaving, and it's flipping tough trying to get your regular news sites and shows to talk about lifesaving. I mean, they only want to talk about it when it's like SA champs or world champs, and if it's like one person having done one thing. But I think there's so much more to lifesaving.
So many stories.
Yeah, that need a platform. So to try and take on that little challenge and make it, I think I was like, hell yeah, let's go. 8-man classic wave, with a ski. Let's go do this. So I think that's why I'm excited to work on the RIP.
And now the big one. Your 3 guests you'd like us to have.
Okay, so...
Scratch me off the list.
Yeah. No. One of them I would love to have is Lewis Gordon Pugh, open water swimmer.
Good one.
Because he was a lifeguard at Clifton, and in his book spoke about how great lifesaving was as a part of his foundation. And I think that could set in motion a bit of a theme with people who even nowadays aren't involved in lifesaving, but it played a critical part to the makeup of who they are and how they carry themselves. I think that would be cool. There's another oak, Rob Herring, who is in the Irish rugby team. We were in the same year at Clifton. And I just would love to, chat
Rob, the
with
world
him.
champ. I mean, chat to him.
I mean, Rob was so epic. Like I can clearly remember he was a bit of a slow starter in like he was there in bouts, but then all of a sudden, like juniors under 17, he started smashing like the board races and the swims, and we were all like, yo, look at this rise. And then blink, and now he's playing for Ireland, and we're like, go Rob, like Clifton loves you. So that would be like quite cool within that type of theme. I think people, I mean, this is like then a whole other collection and theme is your stalwarts, like some of your families that are in. I think we would need to separate them. Like I want to do like a Nikki Maka episode and then a David Maka episode, because they've got such cool stories, and they nippers through to like nipper officers and commentators and world champs, Olympians and everything. So I think people who've had a very colorful life-saving experience and have tapped into so many layers and are still on the beach day after day, frothing and giving it back. And I think it might also be cool to like throw a completely different side to it in, and try and get like one or two people who don't have a huge association to lifesaving. Maybe they weren't in lifesaving, but they know a little bit about it. But they like love leadership as a topic, and then we're able to kind of cross-reference like a lot of the leadership things that we enjoy in lifesaving, and they can talk about like why that gives you that edge in life. And fourth category, because you're gonna probably also do 4, is I think also just any like of the high performance peeps, like some of the athletes.
What's making them tick? What are you doing?
Like I'm a sucker for
what's in your juice bottle?
A sports story, and so to just go through some of the tales of the current athletes, like the ones who are out there training. I think this is a great platform to kind of help get some of their stories out there. A lot of the time, when someone's in race mode, you're not going to be seeing their full personality. You don't really know where they've come from and what they're battling and what their goals are. And I think that's going to be a really cool space to also play in. Yeah.
Guys, there you have it. Christina's given us so many wise tidbits, but for me now, I know never pee into the wind and never throw sand straight up into the sky.
Exactly.
Guys, thanks for listening. Catch us on the next episode where
you're in the hot seat. So we're going to be chatting to Brent about his story. Looking forward to that one. Remember to like, share, subscribe. Instagram, YouTube.
Whatever you got.
Whatever you've got. And if there's any episode ideas you guys have, let us know. One other thing we are going to need help with is we don't have a jingle. And I think we're going to need to crowdsource this.
Now you're thinking.
Yeah. So we need some kind of intro about the RIP. Maybe Brent has a secret rap career that is burgeoning to come out.
Someone send me a beat and we got it.
There we go. So
a slow one.
Yeah, I think, we want to build this with everyone. So we want to figure out a jingle by the time we are recording our next one.
For the 6th episode, we need a jingle.
Okay, good goal.
Deal.
Okay. Cool, that's it.
That's it.
Cheers.